Welcome for the first time in a while to the Back Burner, where we discuss games in our backlogs. Today we'll be discussing the classic Ico, the PS2 classic. Ico? What do you say? I've said Ico my whole life, but I don't know what's right.
In Italian, I would say Ico, so...
Yeah, okay. We're going with Ico. ICO. From the developer... I forget the name of the developer. But they did.
Japan Studio and Team Ico, or Ico.
Team Ico. Yeah, Team Ico. Yeah.
I actually have it in my notes, which I took.
Nice. I'm just going to pull up the Wikipedia right now because I'm so unprepared for this.
I also wrote here that it came out in 2001, the same year as Metal Gear Solid 2, Silent Hill 2, Jack and Daxter, actually, and Devil May Cry.
Great year for games. Pretty stacked year.
So, yeah. Silent Hill 2 is the one I played the most recently, actually.
Metal Gear Solid 2.
And also the year where the first Harry Potter movie came out, and Donnie Darko, and Spirited Away, which felt relevant for some reason.
Yeah, it was also the year the world changed for the worse, where we started going after terrorists and everything.
That is true.
Yeah.
I don't think Ico has anything to do with it, though.
No, it doesn't. Interestingly, I'm seeing here that it came out in North America before Japan and the EU, of course. But
Which version did you play? I emulated it on PlayStation X, like the emulator.
You did
PSX2.
Did you do Crimes?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Just making sure you own it. No, I played it. I played the PS3 version, which apparently is 60 frames per second and outputs at 1080p, which was nice. It's a very, very good looking game.
Yeah, mine did not. Mine was 4/3, and it was not 1080p, but it was still pretty. So.
Okay, so let's dive in. What high level did you think about Ico?
It was good. I liked it. It was a simple game. But it was very nice. And I think it did what it wanted to do fairly well. What about you?
I had some frustrations with it, but overall I think I loved it. I think it was pretty ahead of its time, and you see like a lot of influence there. I think forward to like Uncharted and Assassin's Creed and stuff like that movement. Not saying those wouldn't exist without Ico, but I'm sure it helped pave the way a little bit for some of that stuff. I thought it was overall really solid. So for those that don't know, we should go into, I guess, what happens in Ico.
Well,
you start off. Well, go ahead.
It's a very simple narrative, so it's that helps, I guess. But it is a little bit confusing in the beginning, I guess, because that's the only thing that really happens is you are this boy, I think, called Ico.
His name is a young boy named Ico, yeah.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. And there's these people on horses, all dressed weirdly, that are bringing you into this big castle and just kind of leaving you there. And you look like it looks like a prison, but they lock you in like this in a like a box, like a ancient kind of magic box, and that kind of reminded me of like the Matrix pods, and because there's lots of them, and that's basically it. And then you break free basically from the box, and that's what the
happens.
Game starts.
Like you just move around a bunch and it falls over.
I feel like there's a earthquake.
Yeah, something like that. Because I was like, surely someone else would have figured this out.
But that was a problem because like the box just kind of toppled over, and I was like, I feel like you're not the strongest person who was ever put in here. Did everybody else just not try?
I mean, that dude has some incredible upper body strength.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Like, incredible. Like, so anyway, you eventually meet this princess called Yorda.
Yeah, this girl.
Yeah, this girl who is glowing white, and there's not really much. It's just now you've decided to kind of lead her on a journey through the castle, and you notice that these dark beings are coming after her and trying to take her away into dark pools, and they're pretty annoying. It's probably the most annoying part of the game. Yeah, and then eventually you figure out how to get out. That's kind of the whole game.
The whole game is just you trying to escape this castle, basically, and you see this girl who seems to also be trapped here, and you're like, yeah, let's help her out as well.
Yeah, and she can open doors like these little columns. She like gets lightning power and then opens the doors.
Yeah, something is clearly going on with this girl. Like, she's not.
You're
normal.
a horny boy, and she's an electric girl. So
yeah, and the guy has horns. Just to specify.
Yeah. He has horns. Did I say something wrong there? Or?
No.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Immediately, like I had a lot of like flashbacks to like Twilight Princess. Me personally, I think it's the graphics.
Yeah, I can see that.
This soft glow and like I guess getting like kidnapped by like these horned guys on horses. Like I don't know. It's just like immediately, this is Twilight Princess, and also like maybe the princess. Like I don't know.
It's very reminiscent of the castle the first time you go to in Twilight Princess, where you're the wolf. Yeah. It's like that same architecture that. And
also like the technology, like the not technology, but like the magic stones, like the blue ones are also like Twilight Princess. So I had a lot of like flashbacks to Twilight Princess all at once. So I was like, oh my gosh. Then the game doesn't actually, but I guess graphically it's the most similar that I played.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. It is very Zelda-esque in the puzzle solving. Like you're pushing blocks, you're lighting torches, you're doing weird jumps that sometimes. Maybe if you're like me, you controlled the wrong way and you died. But
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you played it on PlayStation 3. So I'm guessing you didn't have quick save because I did.
No. Did you ever save? Actually, like the regular save?
Yes. Like for the most part of the game, I tried to not use quick save and quick loading on the emulator, but there was some parts in which like, oh my god, you want me to start from here? No, I will not.
I know what you mean. I definitely had those moments, but I do love how you save and how you both just like kind of chill on a couch. And if you come back to that save later, it's like your guy's like slumped back in his chair.
Yeah, and they're literally like waking up from a nap.
Yeah, which is great.
Which also like, I don't know, something about seeing an older game just like saving by sitting down on a bench was like, this is,
But basically what you're doing is you're going through this castle and solving a bunch of environmental puzzles. You're constantly holding Yorda's hand.
Well, no.
Almost.
I mean, that makes it sound like you're like linked together, but like it's a choice, right? That's a mechanic you can do. You can hold Yorda's hand.
You can hold her hand, and I find that's a little faster. You can also press the same button if you're farther away to have her move towards you. The problem is she's kind of an idiot, so she doesn't have the best pathfinding. No. She makes it work, but sometimes you're like, oh, please just sit on this bench with me. Like, come here. And then you'll climb a ladder and you'll call her up and she'll be like, she's got the slowest ladder climb in video games. Like, like the slowest. She takes so long. And then sometimes I would like, I love that you can just pan the camera around and see your surroundings. Besides, I'd pan down the ladder and she'd start going back down it. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Just yelling at her.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Come back.
Yeah. No, I guess we can go over some basic mechanics of like the game. Like there's no user interface at all. And
there's no tutorialization.
Yeah,
really.
It's third person. It's like, or bird's eye view. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's third person,
fixed,
but a little bit far.
It's fixed-ish camera. You can't move the camera behind your character, but you can move it to like help solve puzzles. You can like rotate the camera and see like, oh, there's a door there, or there's a ladder there that I can use.
Like the camera is definitely detached from the character, but it follows him around. I think the game that I played that is the most similar in this aspect is like Journey, I think. Which is like,
it's very Journey-esque for sure.
Yeah.
I bet Journey would not exist without this game. Honestly.
And I also like, I feel like, well, I guess we can talk about this later, but like Ico is always, and the Team Ico like games are always like talked about when talking about games as art or whatever. And I always, and Journey as well, right? And I always had the strong feeling that like camera movement in Journey was a crucial aspect of that. And after playing Ico, I'm like particularly I'm even more sure that it was. It just like, it's very intentional in its movement. It's like the main, I guess, guide for where to go, what to do. And it's all very smooth, I would say. Most of it worked well. And you can control it, which I really appreciate, like you being able to move it around. I wish it reset a little bit faster on the character.
I do too.
But you can move it around and look basically at the whole room most of the time. And that's a very big tool for like the puzzles in the game, because like most of the time you just need to find something to go somewhere or whatever, and to figure out where to go. And it kind of feels like you're looking around the room, kind of like if you were Ico, but like, I don't know, in a more intentional way. Yorda is like following you. She's like a companion. But she cannot do everything that you can. Like you can climb, you can swing up on ropes, go up and down ropes, and fight, of course, and jump very far. And Yorda can do some things, can climb up boxes, but cannot do most of the things you can. No, most importantly, she cannot climb on like ledges and stuff.
You have to help her out. So like if there's a gap to cross or something, you will press a button to call her over, and then your character will kind of automatically like reach over the gap or help pull her up a ledge, essentially. Yeah. And there is light combat at first with a stick. There are these, as I said, these like shadow figures that come out of the ground that like will come after Yorda. And didn't really like the combat too much, but I don't think that's the main focus of the game. So forgive it.
It was very actually, I was saying it was very frustrating in the beginning, but actually it was very frustrating the whole way through. Actually, it's just, I don't know, if it felt hard to like. I understand the basic mechanics fairly fast, but it still feels like I couldn't really manage the enemies very well. Like Yorda was just like they would stun me because if you get hit, you don't really take damage, but you kind of flop on the floor. And if you take Yorda
for a frustrating amount of time, you just fall down and you're like,
solid 20
move.
seconds of just like watching Yorda being kidnapped by the monster.
Yeah, and they always take her to like the farthest shadow realm, so you have to run after them. And sometimes I did lose a couple times because that portal was just inaccessible to me.
Really?
I could not get. Well, I could not. It was accessible, but I couldn't get to it in time.
Yeah,
it was like that was only a couple times. There were a couple times where I was like, I wonder what'll happen if I leave her in this room for a second, and then. If you leave her in there for like 2 minutes, suddenly you hear a scream from her, and she's like, and you're like, fuck. Basically have to reset this progress here and go get her, or lose and still reset the progress. So,
but something I kind of appreciate about the combat is like you can actually just run away.
Oh yeah,
it's not necessarily easy because likely you're gonna have to go back in the room you ran away from, and the monster is still gonna be there. But you can actually and. Another thing, which I discovered by watching the speedrun, was that if there's still monsters around and Yorda opens the door, she just kills all the monsters.
Yeah.
And I didn't know
Yeah. I did that a couple times, but it's honestly like, unless you know exactly where to go and what you're doing, it's hard to do that because you have to guide her there. A lot of the times there's like an obstacle or something in your way. And by the time I got up there and started calling her, the monsters had her. So, yeah.
I mean, but I'm always running around with you, like holding hands, which is very cute. It is cute. It is very cute. Like, this game is cute in that way. Like, Yorda is very, like, cute. I would say Ika's cute, but I hate his fucking sandals so much. His stupid square sandals.
He's just a boy. He didn't have a choice in what outfit they were going to bury him in.
That's true. But also, I hate them. I hated them.
Wow.
I don't know. Well, whatever. But
that is a crazy detail to focus on.
No, it's just I don't know. In the beginning, it's actually I actually said like.
What about these, Adi? Are these okay?
Well, I kind of hate open shoes in general, so no. But
they're great
at
for
least
the
they're
house.
not square. You know, little squares. That's good.
All right. For the listeners out there, all of you, I'm wearing open-toe sandals, so.
Well, yeah. But speaking of frustrating moments, I had a rough beginning with this game because the first thing I had to do after freeing Yorda was, I guess, make her open the door. But that mechanic was not explained to me at that point and not clear to me at all. So I kind of spent an hour trying to make her just go up a rope, and she wouldn't go. And it also happened to be like the biggest fucking room in the game, which is like the biggest staircase. So I went up and down that fucking staircase like, I don't know, 10 times, 15 times, and that took me so long.
Yeah.
And I had no other problems as big as that afterwards.
My biggest problem, it's the only thing I had to look up. I didn't know how to swing on a rope. And I tried everything. I even tried holding the buttons just not long enough. And it turns out you just have to hold one of the buttons for like 2 seconds before he starts swinging. And I was like, I wish that was explained in some way, because I just was on this rope. I was like, I know I got to jump off it. I'm like doing everything that you can do in other games to swing. And I was like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, no, luckily I figured that one out. And I do say luckily because it was probably just luck. But I did have to look up how to solve some problems. Because like one big one was like, and it's always the same with all games. It's always the same. It's like, I know the solution. I think of the solution. It's like the first thing I think of because they're well-designed games, but it doesn't work for me for some reason. And
it would be a little finicky sometimes. Like I would be like, I know what to do. And there is like a hint system baked in. Yorda will sometimes go and point at something, but it's usually the wrong thing. It's like something I'm doing well in advance. But like there's bombs, kind of like Zelda-like, that you can light on fire. And sometimes that was finicky. It was like, sometimes I didn't know how I lit the bomb until late in the game. I was like, oh, I figured it out. I just have to stand a specific way, light it, and then we're good to go.
Well, actually, I feel like if you just had like a stick on fire and the fire was over the bomb, it would catch fire.
Sometimes that didn't work for me. I found that pressing circle, or probably B in your case or something, did it for me. But I just had to put this in the exact right way. No,
luckily I didn't have any problems with bombs, but there was one time. Yorda was like in a tunnel below me, and there were these holes, like square holes, like in the garden area, and I had no idea what to do. Zero idea what to do. I was like, there's no way I can get Yorda out of this, and like
in that waterway section.
Yeah, and the solution was to like, obviously help Yorda out of the hole where I fell from, and I was like. And Yorda was like walked there and pointed it at me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And that was like the first time and only time I think she did it, and she actually helped me. But it was pretty great, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the other like big problem I had. There were like oh yes, of course, the catapult block towards the end of like the game or whatever, in like the I don't know, the windmill. It's not.
Oh, the windmill you have to grab on just right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's it actually. No, it's you have to stop the flow of water. And yeah, and so you go up, there's this block on the floor that like goes up, and clearly it's meant for me to like be catapulted up and grab on something. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I immediately tried to do it, and it doesn't work. I can't do it. I try to time the jump, it doesn't work. And then I spent 30 minutes, of course, trying to do everything else. And then I go online and it says, yeah, you have to jump just right. And I was like, I try again, it works. I'm like, God damn it,
Luckily, I figured that one out. But it is, I think that's one of the struggles of the game, is like a lot of the times I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And sometimes I had to be either positioned just right or press the button at the right time or something. And that was the only way I could get it to work. And I guess that makes sense, but I kind of wish some of it was a little more generous.
Yeah,
in terms of
that
like,
one.
Hey, you're close to this object. Yeah. You're close to you're doing the right thing. Here you go.
Yeah.
Because as pro gamers, my first instinct is like, I know what to do. Here's what I do in other games. And then if it doesn't work, you're like, okay, maybe I didn't know what to do.
Maybe it's something else. And the camera's like pointing straight at the thing you have to do. And like, I know, but it doesn't work. It's not my fault.
Exactly.
I feel like, I don't know if this is the moment I want to ask this question, but you remember when we had that whole discussion about like, should Elden Ring like have a quest log or whatever, and will that ruin Elden Ring? I feel like, I wonder if, like, would the experience of playing Eco like be quote unquote ruined by just having like some like command prompts, like button prompts, or or like just in the pause menu, just have like a like a map of the controller just says what those do.
I don't. In that case, like if it had a quest log, I think that would ruin it. But as far as, I don't want button prompts on the screen because I think that kind of breaks the immersion. But like for instance, the swinging thing, I would have loved to just pause and find out how to swing. That would have made a lot of sense, and I don't think that would ruin a thing. Yeah. And I actually have the PS2 version here too, and in the manual, it also didn't say that. So
it didn't. Like,
yeah.
Oh my god, that's the thing I was gonna say. Like, I wonder if the manual just does.
Let me double check. I'll do it. Well, yeah, keep going.
No, yeah, and I don't know. It feels like the combat was also kind of hard and unforgiving at moments. I wonder if it would be like normal for a kid to play or whatever. I mean, to be honest, kids are. Oh, you can find it?
Yeah, it's somewhere in here though.
I really felt like there were too many enemies at some points, but the puzzles weren't hard. That one, no, they weren't. The combat was a little bit harder, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I eventually got used to the combat. Like, I would get better at running around or jumping and hitting them. I do think maybe that was kind of forced in. Like, sometimes it did feel like too much. And I always wanted to just get through that. Like, I like the tension it brought sometimes, but I always wanted to just get to the next puzzle because they were satisfying. They're not the hardest puzzles in the world. They were satisfying to figure out. I always thought they made pretty logical sense, and like you could usually figure out what to do just by staring at it. In fact, the biggest problem I had with puzzles is the color scheme of the game. Sometimes I would just miss a door.
Yeah,
it happened like 3 times where I was I don't know where to go.
Labor.
Yeah. I was like, I have no idea where to go, and then I would just see the door, and I'm like, oh, I've been looking,
well,
I've been looking everywhere for that. So,
but I did enjoy like small things, like the fact that it's kind of frustrating to fight the monster with like a stick makes finding the first sword like, oh my god,
yeah, because then you just whack them and they're just dead, and you're like, yeah, what's up?
I used
got
to
the
have
sword now.
to smack them like 12 times.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think it does add something. It just felt a little bit too hard, maybe. I don't know. No, just slightly, I guess.
I think I remember trying to play this when I was younger, and I do remember kind of falling off it for that reason. But yeah, overall, it didn't detract from it at all. I still really loved my time with it, and I think the puzzle solving was just overall pretty solid throughout. It was like, I don't want to say. I'll say it. I think it was kind of genius. Like it just like trusted the player so much to figure everything out. Like it's just, and it puts all that power in your hands, and
it also
really
didn't feel boring. Like it used some mechanics more than once. Besides the catapult, we're not going to talk about the catapult, but like the bombs were used like at least 2 times, 3 times, whatever. And I don't know, the swinging, all the mechanics, which are few, but not like just jumping and attacking, right? There's like a few climbing and swinging and setting fire to things, and they're all used again, which I always find like that's crucial for me. There's games that have mechanics that they literally just use once, and it's always a gripe I have with the games. This game doesn't have that. It's I don't know, and everything was like nice to figure out. It wasn't boring either, so there weren't like repeating puzzles. Just like some patterns. It was the right length,
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my total playtime at the end, it said like 5 hours and 30 minutes, and I was like, wow. And I'm sure that doesn't account for like the times I missed time to jump or thought I was jumping left, but I was jumping diagonal left, so I just fell off and had to restart. But
I feel like, if I were to change one thing, is like falling off shouldn't just kill you instantly, in my opinion. Just like make me, I don't know, wake
like
up
a Prince of Persia.
Near the ledge.
It does this thing that old games usually do, where old 3D games, where like when you're shimmying across something and the camera rotates, you have to kind of rotate your stick with it, or you just kind of stop. And I hate that, and I understand. I just want to, if I'm going left and you pan the camera, I don't have control of the camera, just let me keep going left, right? And I feel like that kind of screwed me on some jumps, where I was like, I'm going left. Oh, the camera kind of moved. I fell to my death.
Yeah, that was a problem for me, like towards the end of the game, in the platforms, like the round metal platform. I think that was like the hardest platforming section, because the camera was moving around just so much. And I was thinking about like that, right? Like, is it good or bad that the camera is moving around, right, this much during a platforming section? It feels like I did fall to my death at least once, and I don't know if it was the camera fault or whatever, but it did feel like, I don't know, at the same time, if you're used enough to analog sticks and just moving around in third person, I feel like you can adjust to the camera moving fairly easily. I think there was something about like the depth perception in this game that made it hard sometimes.
Definitely.
It wasn't like perfect, but most of the time I was having no problems. It's just like, considering how precise you actually have to be with the jumps and stuff, like I should have died more. So it definitely like kind of worked.
Yeah, it kind of worked. I feel to get to the camera thing, I think if this were like a Mario game, this would be the most frustrating thing in the world. But because it is what it is, like,
True.
It kind of gives that cinematic pulled out camera experience. I'm looking at the cover of the game, at least the European and Japanese cover, which is way better than the American one.
Really?
And it kind of, it's based on, let's see, what's the artist's name? Giorgio de Chirico, the nostalgia of the infinite, kind of that style. But it's like this pulled out camera. It's the 2 characters running across this vast plain, and really just kind of captures, I think, what the camera work was trying to do. So,
in the beginning you were saying like, I wonder how many games like couldn't exist without Ico or whatever, that it was very influential, and I kept being reminded of many games actually while I was playing, which I think that means I agree, right? Like the camera, besides Journey, which is like the most direct, I think I was thinking a lot of Nier Automata because it has
yeah
like
Definitely.
the same distance from the character. But I do think in Nier Automata, like, it works better, right? Well, I feel it's more
modern, right?
More
it's like
modern,
15
like,
years ahead of that. So
yeah, exactly. But like it definitely had an influence, and it works very well in Nier Automata too, right? It's one of the things I love the most about the game. And so I do think it's a feature I like in general. Right.
I think so too. I mean,
it makes it very cinematic, right? Many games have that lacking, like the cinematic part of it, like the using, like, you make these very pretty environments, but then like if only the camera work like were to enhance that a little bit, like show, like move your eye a little bit. Like it feels like, Breath of the Wild is such a pretty game, and the most stunning moment is in the beginning because the camera like zooms out a little bit, and it's the only moment it ever happens in the fucking game, right? or at least that I remember. Whatever, maybe it doesn't, but it's most of the time the camera is just like you have control over it. Of course, a very different game, but like it feels like kind of a waste almost. Like, just make me look where you want me to look. It works. It's okay. Like, I don't feel, like I don't have control over the game or anything.
Yeah, that game is this game is so good at that. Like, I feel like they made this beautiful environment and they want you to notice it. And honestly, it's amazing that this game came out in 2001 and looks like it does. Like,
sure.
It looks incredible. And granted, I was doing the high definition remaster, but like still, the game looks great.
Yeah,
like
it definitely looked great in not HD as well. It's just like, you don't need like super cool things to make something pretty. It's just like how you use them and what choices you make. Just like the color palette was like not crazy, right? It was very simple, but it worked, and it made things like memorable and stuff.
Very simple. It highlights Yorda very well, obviously because she's glowing white, and it highlights Eiko because he's colored. He's colorful. He's got that colorful outfit, and so like you always can see him against the stark contrast of like sometimes you're outdoors and it's green and bright, sometimes you're indoors and it's dank and brown, but you always have that kind of sense of where you are and how you stand out in the environment.
The thing about like one thing I was thinking about, like, I wish there were more things to collect, whatever, explore, I'm kind of addicted to collecting things in video game at this point. And I was like, I wish, I had the reason to explore more, whatever. So with like my pro gamer instinct of like, okay, the game wants me to go this way, let's go the other way, right? In the beginning I had this, I kept doing it, but there's nothing to discover really, besides like solutions to puzzle, but like the solutions will be like where the camera is pointing you at, so there's really no reason to go the wrong way. And I don't know how I feel about that, if like I need to play, because this is the only Team Eco game I've played for now. I haven't played Shadow of the Colossus and The Last Guardian, and I feel like Last Guardian has some collectibles or whatever. And I wonder how they would implement that with this guidance, right? Because it really felt like the game didn't want you to go the wrong way.
Yeah. No, and there's part of me that likes that, because like I would try to peek around a corner. I'm like, oh wow, this isn't like Mario Odyssey where there's always something around the corner. It's like y'all just straight up made this nothing, which I kind of appreciated. But at the same time, I did want to collect stuff, and maybe who knows? Blue Point has a tendency to put stuff in their games or in their remasters that you can find, but I didn't find anything. Eventually, I just kind of gave up. I was like, oh, this is the way I have to go. It's a pretty linear game, all things considered. And so I just went that way.
It actually just... it feels nice to just go the intended way. I'm like, the camera is telling me to go left. I'll just go left. It's nice.
It has this great sense of progress. And also, It did remind me a lot, and I'm sorry, Addie, to bring this up, but it reminded me a lot of the kind of like the loop you do in Dark Souls, where like you go somewhere and you'd be like, oh, I recognize that from afar, and it's like that looping castle and like constantly going back to places you've been before, and I really love that.
Well, I did think a lot about Dark Souls during this, mostly in the negative. No, I'm joking. But but I was thinking like, yeah, this is what people also like about Dark Souls. It's just like everything is interconnected. You can like you get a feel where things are, and you can tell like the game world is. It's almost like a real place. I don't know. And the elevators. There's many things that remind me of Dark Souls. It seems like maybe it's very difficult to do a castle like level or game without
well, I would be shocked
elevators.
if Dark Souls wasn't influenced by this too. So
Yeah. But
especially.
crucially, this game has a camera telling you which direction is correct.
It does, and I think I came into this game thinking I would probably like it, but it might be a little overrated. But I don't think it is. I
don't think it is either.
I think it's really solid.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, no,
it's
it's
just
okay.
like it just came to me. It's like the physicality of it. It felt really like I don't know how to say. Like Ico had weight to him. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this one point in the game where you swing on like on a wooden bridge to make it fall. And I was like, this encapsulates it.
That was the last part I figured out in that section. I was like, how do I get her across?
Yeah, me too.
I saw the chain
last
and
thing.
I was like, oh, I wonder if this will work. And that's kind of the beauty of this game too, is it's like sometimes I would be like, I wonder if I open this wood door with bombs. And I would be like, I wonder if there's bombs over here. And there would be. And it always rewards you with that sense of wonder. Like, you think you can figure it out, and you most likely can. It might take you a few tries. You might miss time a few jumps, but you will figure it out. So.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, it's the same. It's this sensation, like this emotion that games give you that is just like, I wonder if this will work. And it's actually the solution. I always, when I have to make an example of it, I always think of like Ocarina of Time. Like, I wonder if lighting the torch will open up the thing.
Yeah.
And I can use the stick to light up the torch. And I was like, oh, I can do it. This is a good game.
Yeah. To go back to Breath of the Wild, it's kind of the same way, but like more extrapolated, I guess, where it's like, I wonder if I can do this using the systems in this game, and
you can.
Most of the time you can figure it out and do it.
Yeah.
And that's something I love. But yeah, this game is just so solid throughout. Everything about it. Like, the story's very simple, but I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Did you stay past the credits?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, but then I was like, you know what, whatever.
I don't want to ruin what happens, but it's just like very cinematic and kind of beautiful scene.
That was very reminiscent of Nier Automata as well. Like.
Yes, it is. Yes, very much. Well, yeah, I feel like Nier had. Yeah, this is very. I didn't really put that together while I was playing it, but it's very reminiscent of Nier. Like,
I really want to play Nier Replicant now.
Yeah,
gosh. Yeah, I should. You have?
On stream. I haven't. I've only played Automata, and I had my issues with that game. But yeah.
I remember. But I love it. Nier Automata is one of my favorites.
Speaking of games with good combat, what did you think of the boss fight in this?
I mean, I'm just glad it was one and done. Like, I had no issues with it whatsoever. I just like, okay, this is what's going on very well.
I actually thought it fit the game well. Like, I was worried when it was like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to fight something, like actually fight something, and I was like, oh, it's more like a puzzle boss than anything. Not a very hard puzzle boss at all.
No, very chill.
Yeah, very chill.
But, nothing really special, to be honest. I don't know.
Besides the effects, I love hiding behind the little statues and having it come towards you, and then when you pick up the sword, it's like you're like, I mean, the sound design. Badass.
And the design of this was great, but the
Yeah.
sound design, I think, was one of the better parts of it. I just thought all the sounds just, it was it's a very atmospheric game, right?
Yeah, super.
And the sound is very important to that, and music too. Music was pretty nice. I really liked the ending credits.
Yeah, me too. I was about to bring that up. We should put that at the. It's called "You Were There." You should put that at the front of the podcast. Let's see.
Will do. And I don't know.
Right now, it's so good.
I guess I wish for some stupid things like that Ico would make different sounds to call Yorda. That's not always like some things that video games don't do. I'm like, God damn it, guys. Like, you have to know that I've been screaming for 6 hours the same fucking voice line. Every time. Like, just record more of them. Like, you've put so much effort. Just record like 50 fucking voice lines. What's the cost?
I do wonder if they like didn't realize how dumb Yorda would be sometimes. Because like anytime I had to call Yorda, it wasn't just like a hey, come here. It was like hey, no, come here.
But I do feel like calling her again would confuse her.
Yeah,
like,
sometimes.
Yeah, I think like sometimes I called her once. It's like she's not moving, and the moment I start calling her again, she starts moving, and then she stops. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck it. I'm going back to grab her hand because this is impossible.
I remember one time I climbed a ladder, and I just assumed she wouldn't climb a ladder because she rarely does. And it turns out she was behind me, and then I called her name, and she was like, "Oh, I better go back down." Like,
I guess we didn't say that. I guess Yorda talks a different language, so the characters can't really communicate that much. But everything is just like so nice. There was no need to communicate. Really, they're just holding hands and trying to run away. Mm-hmm. It's so cute. Really,
it really is
very sweet. But I do need to bring this up. I guess this is a spoiler, but I don't care. Like. In the end, right?
Oh, for a 20-year-old game? Oh, sorry. Spoilers, everyone.
Yeah, spoilers ahead. But, like, when the bridge, like, starts separating, right? As you're running on it. Okay, so...
Did you mess up, too?
Absolutely. So, my first instinct was just like, okay, the exit is my way. So, I'm just gonna go on the ledge and say, Yorda, grab my hand.
That's what jump. I did, too!
But she... did not work. I didn't fall to my death. I just grabbed, and then I was like, oh, well, the bridge is separating. This is kind of sad, but I guess she stays there and I go away, right?
Yeah.
Like that could have been a possibility in my head. So I run back and then I fall into in the water and I die, which is interesting. Wait, I will lead up to Wait,
same thing happened to me.
So, okay, I go back, rewatch the cutscene or whatever, and okay, let's jump to Yorda, and then you fall anyways.
Yeah, I was like, I just did that.
I just did that. You could have just let me fall.
For that, yeah.
There's no, like, just do 2 different cutscenes, it's fine. And then you fall on a metal, fucking, a piece of metal, and you survive. And I'm like, you know what, game? I feel like falling in water would be slightly less damaging than
I feel like maybe. But I think we're spoiled by Sekiro, honestly, because, you have the Genichiro cutscene where if you beat him...
It's sure.
Either way, your arm gets taken off. Yeah.
Anyway, you die. But
no, it's the only game that does that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Sekiro, the only good game.
True.
I should play it again. I come back to streaming just to do a slow play of Sekiro.
Okay.
Okay.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
She came back doing New Game 1 through 7.
I also got, like, okay, then of course you go back for Yorda, right? And you find the sword. I was very happy about the sword. But before getting the sword, I was like, oh, you see a door, right? One of those doors that only Yorda can open. I was like, oh, I'm happy, right? I'm about to save Yorda so she can open his door. And the game is like, no.
Yeah.
Actually, you just find a sword, and I was like super sad.
And then you go to the room in the beginning, and I actually thought this part was cool because, like, none of the monsters are really recognizable throughout the game, but then at the end, you're fighting, like, all the little boys with horns with that sword. which I thought was, I don't know if it was powerful, but I really enjoyed that attention to detail.
Well, that actually brings me to my actual question that I thought about asking you. Is like, what do you think is the lore of the game? Like, what's your theory about it?
Well, I didn't take notes on this like I did Elden Ring, but let's see.
Fair enough.
My theory is that the village takes these horny boys and they lock them up.
God damn it.
The horned boys, and they lock them up because they think they're a bad omen. And maybe at some point that was a demand of the queen. And she was like, I'm going to screw you guys up if you don't give me your horny boys. And she kind of subsists off them. And as for Yorda, I don't really know. I don't really know where Yorda came from or why she was needed to continue the queen's reign. I feel like that was just there for it to be there. But yeah,
story purposes.
Yeah.
My theory was that like the queen is some sort of like demon or whatever, like some sort of evil force that they're trying to like keep contained to this castle or whatever. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but that was like my vibe. The only real problem is like she doesn't seem to fight being there much.
Yeah, maybe it's chill, you know?
Maybe she's just, resigned to it. And I was feeling like these horned boys were like...
Horny boys.
They were like they're magical or something, and they use this like magic to keep her contained. So like, and I just assumed like Yorda was some sort of sacrifice to keep her like locked into a mortal body, so she cannot whatever. Because then Yorda becomes this like big ball of darkness, and I don't really know what's up with that because of the ending. So it's all a little bit confusing.
It is,
but I do feel like, I don't know, because the dark figures like keep Yorda in. So I don't know. They seem to be like interested in containing whatever and not letting her out more than you, right? They don't care about you that much. Besides at the end. Really. I don't know. Because the only real character that talks to you is the queen, right? And she doesn't say much at all. She's just like...
She's basically just lays out her diabolical plans.
No, she does not. Yeah, sadly. She just says, what you're doing is useless, stop. And she could very well be lying. She seems to be lying, considering the ending, so I don't know. Well, I guess our theories suck.
Our theory, well, I just don't really think the plot's the point. I mean, I think I think a lot of it is there to evoke emotion, but I think a lot of that comes down to just the structure of a game as a whole. The fact that you're constantly holding Yorda's hand. You've developed this companionship throughout, and I'll be honest, like when the bridge thing happened in my head, I was like, all right, bye.
Bye.
But I see what it's trying to evoke. Maybe that's because
I was actually I actually had a joke because the game continues after you just like bye Yoda, have fun, right? And the puzzles like become a little bit like, I don't know. There's a lot that goes on in the puzzles immediately after, like moving platforms, lots of platforming and stuff that Yorda can't do. I was like, is this the moment, where Goku takes off the weighted clothes? Like, we're letting Yorda go and now the game can have fun.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, oh, this part rules. I can just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. But it's only a little bit of content, but it was nice. And I was happy to save Yorda, let's be real. I was happy to. Oh yeah,
I was happy at the end too. But like when the bridge scene was happening, I was like, maybe this is the end. I don't know. See you, Yorda. Peace.
Yeah, I was happy to like. Oh, this is the ending. Kind of sad, I'm shocked, but it's fine. And then the bridge just killed me.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind then.
But yeah, I mean,
I mean, personally, I wouldn't jump back. Like, I'm sorry. Like, okay, you die. We don't. We don't need to both be dying.
It seems like you're the problem here, actually. I could just go.
Just keep falling in this fucking bridge. You
I just use you to open the doors, actually. I couldn't open those doors, so...
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You could... I mean, you maybe you could have found this sword, to be honest.
Maybe. But would we have found the sword if we hadn't fallen down the pit?
Well, I don't know. It was very close to the beginning of the game, to be honest.
That is true. That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, but so it was very, very interesting. I really enjoyed playing it. Very neat little experience.
Mm-hmm. It makes me really want to play Shadow of the Colossus.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Especially Shadow of the Colossus, I think.
Last Guardian, less so.
Last Guardian, I feel like it's gonna be very similar to this. Like,
yeah, that's what I felt, but with like a bigger thing, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to deal with that. Like, I can't hold this giant creature. I have it, so I could.
But Shadow of the Colossus, like, Dark Souls took like 3-4 games, 5 games to get to like, let's do an open world one. Yeah. And Team Ico was like, okay, we did one game. Let's do an open world one.
Let's do it. It's going to run at like 15 frames per second on the PS2, but we got this. I remember I did fire that up when I was young too. And I was like, whoa, this is fucking incredible.
Which, because it is. Like, everything I've seen of Shadow of the Colossus is just like, what the fuck?
But do you have a PS4, Adi? Would you be able to play the remake?
No.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'd play the original.
Okay. Well, I have both, so we could do both.
I mean, it's fine. You can play the remaster. We can compare. I don't feel like it makes that much of a difference, to be honest.
That's fair.
If you're willing to put up with like frame drops, which I had in Ico, for example, a little bit. Not much, to be honest, but some.
Well, overall, I think we're both pretty hot on this game.
Yeah, it was good.
What would you give this out of 10?
9, like 9 or 10. I don't.
Yeah, I would give it a 9.5. I think. 9.5.
Yeah, it's hard to give it 10 because like it's not a perfect game, but like
it's pretty close.
It's very close.
I feel like if like some of the combat was tweaked a little bit, and maybe like. I like the tension of the combat, but at the same time, there were times where I was like, this could not be in here and I would be fine. I would have the best time with this game without the combat, I liked it. I did like the combat aspect. I think it did help. And it was like more content, but too many enemies. Yeah, that was my main thing. Like, I think if it were like 3 at a time, you still got that tension, and then...
Actually, I had less problems with jumping around. I had more problems aiming at the enemies. Like, I just kept swinging at the wall, like just over and over.
Hey, that's another thing Dark Souls took, is you hit the... Well, I guess Ocarina of Time did it first, where you hit the wall and you bounce off. But I really love this game. Do you have any other thoughts that you want to talk about with it, or?
I just love when video games have stuff after the credits, honestly.
Oh, me too. Like,
that's another Nier Automata thing, right?
Yeah.
Just like, after the credits scene, and then I was like, I can move? Like, incredible, It's just like, even though it's short, it's not Nier Automata content after the credits.
It's not the extra 20 hours or whatever.
It's not like the second game after credits, but it was great, and I was so happy about it as well. I was just like, oh my god. So good.
Well, what else have you been playing? If we're done with Ico, I think I feel like
have been playing. I have a terrible news. Horrible news. What do you think I've been playing?
Harry Potter?
No, I wish. Genshin Impact.
Oh, Genshin? Oh,
yeah.
So what? That's sick.
No, it's not. Because the new Genshin clone came out. You must have seen like the advertisements. Tower of Fantasy. It's like Genshin but sci-fi, and I played.
Isn't it the same? Isn't that the same company? Didn't they just announce a sci-fi thing too? Or
I don't think so. It's much less polished than Genshin. It's nice. You can make your own character and everything. So I played an hour, and then I was like, you know what? If I have to play Genshin Impact, might as well fucking play Genshin Impact. At least I know how the combat works.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite thing about Genshin, paradoxically. So I just downloaded Genshin Impact, and I lost like 2 days already to it.
Hell yeah. You should stream it.
No. and also I've been trying to learn any percent Superliminal. What about you?
I've actually been playing a lot of Gran Turismo, which has been fun. Like a lot. And Splinter Cell, the original Splinter Cell, which I loved as a kid, and I'm going back to it, and I'm like, man, this game's frustrating as hell. But still
I never
fun.
played it.
I thought about adding it to the list, but it might be a little too fascist. So,
gosh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're a secret organization of the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
good start.
You can think, and it's by Tom Clancy, so you could figure out where it goes.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. But we do have a game planned for the next one.
Yes.
Is it okay if I announce this or?
Yes, it is. I mean, game.
It's DLC. It's interesting. It's DLC. It's Prey Moon Crash. I am a huge fan of Prey, but I've never played Moon Crash. Adi knows nothing about Moon Crash, and I feel like is a little hesitant. But here, let me just here. We'll say what Moon Crash is, and you tell me if this sounds interesting. It has nothing to do with the story of Prey. Does that sound interesting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah. So, in Moon Crash, the player has to navigate their way through a moon base while surviving and fighting against the Typhon. It's identical to story mode, but the thing is, it's more roguelike. So if you die, you go back to the beginning. And there's 5 playable characters that apparently help you get to the end.
Okay. How long is it?
Let's find out. 11 hours and 34 minutes. Main plus extras is around 17. So I feel like we'd probably get it to like 14.
That's pretty long.
Yeah.
That's longer than Eco.
Yeah, well, a lot of games that we have on our list are longer than Eco.
Well, this is a DLC.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But it's like a whole different game with the same mechanics.
I mean, that's good. That's good because the story was the weakest part of Prey.
Yeah, I agree. The gameplay is the strong part of Prey,
definitely
for sure.
Yeah,
I just love that structure. But anyway,
we shall see. I don't really like roguelikes usually, but we shall see.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see too. I usually fall off of roguelikes. I don't think I've beaten one besides Dead Cells. I can't think of one that I've beaten.
Either.
So I don't know. We'll see. Worst case is we get close to the end or something, and then we come and talk about it. But I also think we're going to be doing this more than every 5 months or something, or
likely. I'm very happy we're doing it again. I missed it.
Me too.
Missed it. We did 2 episodes. It really, I was sad.
Two incredible episodes, though.
It's true.
You should go back and listen to our episodes on Batman Arkham Asylum and Primal. Primal is somehow a game that still lives in my head.
It's true. It's true.
I don't know why. I think about Primal more than it deserves. I think about Primal so much. I'm like, I think I enjoyed that game.
Yeah. You know what I keep thinking of? The scene in the ballroom where there's the guy who's just straight up cheating on his wife in front of his wife. That's the scene I think about
all the
time. For some reason.
All the time. Maybe play Primal. It's accessible on all PlayStation systems right now.
And do play Eco as well.
Yeah, definitely play Eco. If you have a PS3 especially, like, that version is just incredible, but also there are other ways to play it. So do it. Goodbye.